Hi guys. So I'm sitting in the car, AC on, and I thought that I would just film an impromptu Q&A because I don't have anything else to film. We have some friends staying with us right now. We have Elsa and Baron, which if you guys have ever watched any of my videos, I've mentioned them many times. The channel is Elsa Ray. They live in a 13-foot scamp trailer. They travel around the United States, living in amazing places and doing amazing things. And they decided for one of those places to be Washington. And so when they came up, I was like, please hang out with me. And they were like, okay, God. And I was like, okay. They're so cool. They're the nicest, and we've been hanging out with them for like the last week. We went up and did some amazing like camping, and we did like paddle boarding and just hanging out and having an amazing time. And then now they are over at our house because kind of like we go to theirs, they come to ours. And while they're in Washington, we wanted to show them around if possible and, you know, hang out. They're the most wonderful. We've had such a good time. Right now, Elsa's in there working, and Zach and Baron are in there playing a game. And I thought I would film a little impromptu Q&A because I don't have a video for this week, but you know what? Now I do. So I asked you guys on Twitter to ask me questions. I figured I would sit in the car and answer them. I've got second day hair with baby powder as dry shampoo. Sometimes that's a good alternative. I'm wearing my favorite overalls. You guys, I'm obsessed with the overalls right now. Can't get enough. They're the best thing that's ever happened to me. They make me feel so confident. That's all I can say about that. So let's answer some questions. Asia Marie said, if you had to choose Pepsi or Coke? Coke, 100%. Megan says, how has keto been so far? Well, off and on. If I'm just being dead ass honest with you, we haven't been doing it since we've been with Elsa and Baron, okay? They made us meals. I wasn't gonna be weird about it. I wasn't about to be like on keto when we were hanging out. She cooked us like amazing meals. Like we had like spring rolls, and she made like potatoes and eggs and stuff like that. So I tried to just play it cool a little bit while we're with them. Especially when I'm like away or when I'm with other people, I hate being keto sometimes because it's so like limiting, and I don't like to be that bitch who always has to have a different meal than everybody else, so a lot of times I just do. Micah says, what are your go-to Netflix binges? The Office is Friends and The Office. The Office right now is #1. That's what we're watching every single day. We're on our third time of like going through the whole season. It is my #1 show, hands down, all day, every day. Kit MUA says, are you and Zach still looking into buying a new house? We have cooled it on that. We did put an offer in on a house. We got accepted, and then the house did not have internet availability for what we needed. That's been our biggest struggle so far, is that everywhere that we really love doesn't have internet because it's pretty rural, you know? That's kind of what we're looking for, is that like rural life, and nothing has internet availability. And turns out, because I work on the internet, I can't pay for it if I don't have internet. So we're still on the hunt, but we're also in more of the realm right now of just saving, continuing to live here, enjoying the home we do have, and not worrying too much about it. If we find something perfect, fantastic, but I'm in no rush. Kiki says, who are your style icons and or artistic inspirations? I wish I could say that I had any. I don't. I have no style icons. I like to wear overalls. Anything that can just cover, make me feel more confident. Maybe my style icon right now is like Michelle Tanner. So that's kind of like what I'm channeling. Artistic inspirations. I really love Rosie's sketchbook on Instagram. I don't really have many inspirations though. Like if I'm being honest, there's nobody that I really follow that I'm like, yes. Courtney Heath says, if you could be any animal in the world, what would it be and why? A cat, because they're cute, small, spunky, fun, and amazing in every single way. Ray says, how are you doing? I'm actually doing really good. I'm doing so much better. Thank you for asking. That's really nice. I'm doing so much better than I was before. I was just really like in a rough headspace before, but I've just sort of realized like sometimes when I get into those headspaces, I'm just overthinking everything, and I'm really trying not to overthink anything right now. I'm trying to just live my life day to day, enjoy my time, but I think I have a curse of being an overthinker, but in general, I think I'm doing really good, and I'm really happy with the way things are going, so thank you. Kristen says, are you decorating for Halloween, and will you do Halloween makeup series? I'm gonna try to do stuff for Halloween this year. I didn't do anything last year because we had a big family emergency right before Halloween, so the last thing on my mind was doing Halloween videos. I don't know what I'm gonna do for this year, or if I'm gonna do anything big or just a couple of little things. I don't know. I always decorate for Halloween. It's my #1. Handing out candy is like one of the biggest joys of my year. Last year, we decorated our front porch with a big giant spider. huge spider webs, lots of spiders all over, scary music playing, a fog machine outside. Like, we go all out when it comes to the front porch for Halloween, because I loved visiting houses like that when I was a little kid, and I remember loving people that got into the Halloween spirit, and we really do. And our house looks kind of witchy anyway, so it's kind of perfect for that, because it's like like our doorway and everything, it just is like perfect for that. So this year I think I'm even going to decorate more than I have in previous years. I want to do more with like the side of our house, and maybe like put some gravestones and like light up the gravestones or something. Like, I want it to like look creepy and like Morticia Adams-y. So yeah, I definitely am gonna do that. Handing out candy is my favorite. We didn't get very many trick-or-treaters last year, and it actually frankly broke my heart, and that's actually one of the main reasons I'm sad if we ever do move. There's many reasons, but if we ever do move like to a very like middle of the woods location, like we won't get trick-or-treaters. Liz says, if you weren't a YouTuber, what would your career be? I would imagine I would be a wildlife rehabber, an interior designer, or probably a veterinary technician. I don't know. I feel like it would always be something in an artsy sort of something. Like, I feel like that's how I thrive, is just like in that sort of working for myself, doing things as they come to me creatively. But a lot of times I find myself gearing more towards those kind of more unique things, like wildlife rehab. I was a doula and all those things. So I would imagine I would go back to wildlife rehab. That was something that I really, really enjoyed. And it was also something that pushed me every single day to learn more. There was never a day you didn't learn something new, and I felt really, I don't know, like I was really using my brain a lot in that job, and I am very interested in the medical field. It's something that I don't know if I could ever do human medicine. I think it would be really fascinating, but there's something about working with humans that I would rather die. So I definitely, that's why I like working with the animals, because they don't scream at you and I really don't like people telling me what to do. So I would probably do something with the animals, I would imagine. Sarah says, what do you want to be known for in life? Not as Kristi the YouTuber, but as Kristi the human. I love that question. I really like your question, Sarah. Thank you for asking it. If I can be remembered for anything, I want people to remember how I made them feel, and hopefully that was a good thing. Like, I want people to remember me as kind and giving and compassionate, and I want to be remembered for somebody that made people laugh and that could just like hopefully be like a nice presence to have around. And I really try to do as much of that as I can and be very giving, and so I hope to be remembered as somebody who just had a good spirit. I think that's important to me. Lauren said, I know your mom passed away. Mine did too 9 years ago. I was wondering if you do anything to celebrate her life on her anniversary still or ever. I still try to, but my siblings make it hard. So I was wondering if maybe I should let it go and just do it just my boyfriend and me. I think everyone grieves differently, and everyone has ways that they like to handle situations differently. And for me, that was never talking about it. I'm one of those people. I guess I just think that a big part of like my healing is never, and I think it's probably to a detriment to myself, but is never letting myself feel that stuff. So I do make a post about her every year and talk about her. We talk as a family, but there's really no like celebration or anything that we do. We talk about her often, but the thing is like the more I allow myself to think about my mom, the more I like get so devastated. So I'm one of those people that if I'm just like being honest, I don't even really allow myself to think about my mom that often, because it's like a spiral. It's like thinking about people or things that have passed, like even thinking about my kitty. Like time has helped heal a lot, but I don't try to reopen old wounds, because sometimes when I do, like I really struggle. So we really don't do anything, but I would say do what you feel is right and don't worry about anybody else. I would not stop doing anything you feel you want to do because of anyone else. Do whatever it is despite anyone else, and if they want to join you, fantastic, and if not, that's fine. But I think that each person is individual in how they grieve and how they want to do that. So I think it's just one of those things you gotta make that decision for yourself on how you want to continue on with that celebration of life in the future. But for me, I'm more of like a bury it deep down type of person. Kareen says, what is your advice for someone going through major life changes? How do you stay positive? I wish I knew. I'm not that good with major life changes, and I think that's one of the main reasons lately that things have been going a little better for me, because we have halted a lot of the big decisions in our life. We've just been doing things around here, traveling around here, not looking really for a new place to live. And I feel like sometimes when life changes are getting to be too much is when I kind of retreat back in, and that's where I'm at right now, and that's why things kind of feel good again. I wish that I had advice for you on that. I don't stay so positive. A lot of times I am having to really like push myself out of my comfort zone and my boundaries, and I don't know if that I do stay that positive, but I do talk a lot about my feelings to my husband. So I would say a big thing for me in staying grounded, at least during a lot of things, is just to have somebody to talk to, and really just don't hold back. Just say everything that you feel, even if it's uncomfortable to say, and it really is helpful. Lauren says, what is your favorite music? Share some songs with us. So I really don't listen to songs. I'm not really one of those people that like listen to songs. I'm more of a station type of person. So I either have a Pandora or Spotify station and I just listen. Right now I'm listening to like I type in French cooking music, put that on when I'm cooking. It makes me feel relaxed and calm. It sounds like you're in Ratatouille. The Lumineers radio, because it plays all of that sort of like folksy music, which I really love. I am really liking John Denver. I really like old rock music or calming type of stuff. Or if I'm in the mood for like a pump up moment, 80s music never lets me down. Just put on like an 80s playlist and it will make you so happy with like Hall & Oates. Oh my God, stop. Audrey says, thoughts about BeautyCon? Well, I can say I am just a little bit shocked about the whole thing. I've only gone to BeautyCon once. I went last year and I was there with Hourglass. So I think being that I was with a brand, I may have had a different experience than somebody that goes without a brand. I could imagine being there without a brand would be quite awkward if you were just walking around sort of just hanging out. I do understand what Sierra Schultze is talking about, being that I am somebody who is not, I wouldn't call myself like the typical looking influencer. I almost hate to like label or anything like that, because I feel like it can sometimes be like, I don't know, it can sound kind of shitty to be like, oh, I don't look like norm, you know what I mean? I don't know how I feel about any of that, but like at the end of the day, let's be real. I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? So I maybe am jaded always because I kind of walk into all events with my guard up, but most people that I've met are relatively nice. There are, of course, people with diva-y personalities out there and they treat you like shit sometimes. That is specifically true with sort of the beauty industry. I have had negative experiences. I actually made, I think it was after BeautyCon, wasn't it? I think I came home and it might have been after BeautyCon, I'm not sure, last year. And I came home and I made a video talking about my experience and just talking about people that have like an elitist personality or make you feel small and insignificant. And that's most certainly the case at a lot of events that I've been to. But a lot of times if you kind of push yourself out of your shell, I think a lot of people seem kind of like dickheads, but sometimes they're just like socially awkward too. But some people just are fucking dickheads. That's all I can tell you. So sometimes you do meet people and they just have like a bad attitude. But a lot of YouTubers are actually really friendly, at least to me. Maybe behind my back they say something, but I wouldn't fucking know. So I don't know. I think that Sierra's experience at BeautyCon was really shitty. I don't know anything about BeautyCon. Otherwise, I do not like their response. I feel like their response was really embarrassing. I think that sometimes people get really defensive over their companies, and like, you know, when it's a company that you run and it's something that you're passionate about, I think like I get it, but I think their response was, it wasn't it. I feel like I had a really big fear of missing out about it. I felt really bad about not going. I was invited by BeautyCon, but I wasn't invited by a brand this year, and I wasn't gonna fly all the way down to LA for a day. And that may sound stupid, but like it's a lot of money to spend to go down to, like, when I'm not with a brand. I was just kind of wondering if maybe it was gonna be like an awkward thing, so I was just like, fuck it, I'm not even gonna go. I like to meet my subscribers. I think that's the main thing, is that but I wasn't having a meet and greet, so that was another main reason I didn't want to go, because you can't just like hold your own meet and greets necessarily. So I don't know if I would go in the future. I thought that their response was really, it just sounded really shitty. It sounded like a non-apology, and it also sounded very accusatory. And I just think that, I don't know, man, people have a right to feel how they feel, and I can speak from personal experience. It's very uncomfortable being somebody that already deals with feeling and looking different in an industry, and showing up and feeling that same thing when you get there. I can speak from experience that that's the case. I have noticed that as well, but it's just part of it. I just deal with it and then I don't even think about it anymore. But when she's talking about it, I've been in her shoes. So I was like, oh yeah, I've been there. I know how gross that feels. So I don't know. I just feel like that's why I don't really go to events anymore. Caitlin Ann says, do you have a dream goal for your subscriber count? I used to. I think 1 million is a really cool number, but I used to have subscriber goals, and then I was actually talking to my friend about this recently, and that's because last year I remember saying like, oh my gosh, when I have, 700,000 subscribers or something, like that'll be the goal. I don't like necessarily coming up with subscriber goals because they're not something in my control necessarily, and they also don't, like, I like the community that I currently have. I feel like I've got a really good group of people watching. Everyone's really chill, everyone's really fun, and I really love that. And I feel like sometimes the larger you get, the less that is the case, and I really don't want that. I really don't want to have lost control of my comment section and feel like that there are so many new eyes on me that don't know me or understand me or get my intention. So no, I don't really have a subscriber goal. It doesn't matter how many to me. It has everything to do with the quality of subscribers, and if it gets too large, I feel like you reduce that. And I love the group of people that I have now, and I want to maintain a positive, good, funny, witty, awesome comment section, and I feel like hopefully that's where we can keep it. Brandy Dove Osborne says, if you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life without health consequences, what would it be and why? Sourdough bread toasted with butter, because it's delicious. Lee says, how do you feel about cruelty-free brands that are owned by bigger brands that aren't cruelty-free? I don't know, I kind of feel 50-50 on it. It's like tough because it's like, I think it's a personal thing. For me, I feel like I still use brands that are cruelty-free but that are owned by non-cruelty-free parent companies. That's kind of where I have made that decision, but I think it's a very personal decision for each person. For me, I feel like the amount of brands I would have at my disposal would be severely limited with the job that I have. I don't know, I just feel like I just can't believe that makeup is still tested on animals. There are many different brands that are owned by parent companies. I think even Hourglass was just purchased by Shiseido or something, I can't remember. It is one of those things where it's a line in the sand that you have to draw for yourself, and you have to figure out what you feel is right. Some people are really hardcore about it, and they're like, I will only use cruelty-free brands if they're not under a parent company. And I think that that's totally personal decision, and I respect anybody's decision. For me, I'll still use ones that have parent companies, but at the end of the day, these brands all need to do better. Chelsea says, Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town? That is a really hard question. I'm gonna have to say Hocus Pocus, but they're both great. Jessica says, what are your top 5 goals for the next 5 years? I would love to buy land and eventually be living in like an A-frame on land with a big garden and have like a nice, awesome, self-sustaining, hopefully back to Eden garden. I think that's probably my goal, one of them. I would like to be probably eating mostly plant-based and like very healthy. I think that would be a really good goal that I would like to attain and like sustain it and feel like I know what I'm doing really well in it. I want to do more like car traveling. Like that's a huge goal of mine that Zach and I are really gonna work towards, because we've been doing a lot of it lately around at least Washington, and we've been enjoying it so much. I think that sometimes with like plane traveling and stuff, it just gets so expensive, and it's not limiting, but I don't love flying. It's like, you ever have those things that are like the bane of your existence, like going to the post office? Like that's one of mine. Like I absolutely hate it, and I will avoid it at any cost. A big one for me is traveling. I will do it. I hate doing it. I hate flying on airplanes. It's not even just the airplane part, it's the whole going to the airport, going through security, sitting at the airport, getting on the plane, checking your bag. Like that whole process to me is so daunting. I'd rather just drive. And so I think it would be really cool to like, I think that the United States has so much beauty to offer that I think oftentimes that I've even overlooked. Like even if you think about it, like Alaska, like that in general, like Alaska. Like we can go to Utah, we can go to like, Zion. There's all these beautiful places all over the United States that I have not even scratched the surface of visiting. And so a lot of that is what I want to visit that. Very many places, and do it in like a road trip, maybe even get a little pull behind trailer, or maybe get a van or do something along those lines and like do that. And I think get a dog and have kids are going to be in those 5-year plans. I kind of have to, because I'm getting up there. My biological clock is ticking. we're getting there to a point where I feel like ready to be an adult. Although I don't really know if I am. Jess said, did Jacqueline ever reach out to you about the video that you did? She never did after. Don't really blame her. But she did about 2 hours before I uploaded the video, just to clarify some things, because she had seen some stuff on Twitter about me talking about like the fuzzies on my lipsticks, and she did reach out, and it was basically the same statement that she had given on Twitter afterwards about the gloves and all that stuff. So she reached out to me privately to talk to me about it in a DM. This is the first time we've ever spoken. And then I told her, like, thank you so much for that, and I told her I was still gonna upload my video, and she was like, yeah, still upload it. And then I haven't heard from her after. I don't really blame her for that. Probably wouldn't talk to me either. Randa says, how do you currently feel about the makeup, about makeup and the industry? I fell completely out of love with it altogether, pretty much. Yeah, I feel like there is, I wanted to talk about this in a video, like a separate video. I feel like the makeup industry right now is being overtaken by people realizing the power of makeup, the power of money. And what used to be a hobby and love and passion for makeup has turned into a cash grab for so many people. And while I understand that it is very popular right now, I feel like the pendulum must swing back. And I don't know, for some reason I feel like we're at the tipping point, because everyone is coming out with a beauty brand. Every brand is getting on board. Everybody is launching a new thing every single week. The amount of PR and waste and money and brands and celebrities coming out with brands and people coming out with brands, it's so overwhelming that I think it does take away from the joy and love that I have felt for it. And I think so many people, I did a poll on Twitter the other day asking how people felt, and so many people agreed, because it's just like so much is happening, so many things are releasing, so many things are launching, so many products left, right, and center. And it just feels to me like, I remember when I started YouTube, everybody had the naked palette, because that was the palette. Now there's like 500,000 palettes to choose from, and it's not like each one is methodically thought out before it's released. Possibly, but a lot of them just feel like, yep, slap a sticker on it, it's perfect, slap a sticker on it, it's perfect. And it's really hard, because it's not like every week all these incredibly amazing high quality staple products are coming out. We're talking about limited edition collections left and right. Hardly anything stays staple. Every brand has a million different products, 1,000 different SKUs. It's just gotten to a point where it's just so overwhelming that I feel like so many people are, it's too much. And I think that there needs to be a point where these brands, I wish brands would all of them would start coming out with innovative, cool things that are all long-standing permanent items a couple of times a year, instead of product launch after product launch after 85 new SKUs this week, and then next week is, it's gotten to a point where it's so overwhelming that I don't even know how people keep up, because something I reviewed last week is already considered old news. And that's what's really weird. For like the first 2.5 years that I did YouTube, the naked palettes were still cool, and then now it's like there's so many new things all the time. What's ever cool, what's ever new, it's just so much. So it's not a complaint, it's a legitimate fact. I feel like the makeup industry has turned into something massive, and it's almost getting too big for itself. And I feel like a lot of people realize that that's where money is, and that's where things are starting to get cloudy, and you're starting to get weirdness and drama and waste and issues. And I just feel like everyone gets on board with it, and then it's got to be one of those things where the pendulum has to swing back, right? I don't know. It just feels like overwhelming to me right now, and I think that it's going to be a detriment to itself. And while I don't think anything's gonna happen, because people still wanna wear makeup, people are still wearing makeup, I think the average everyday person that's just wearing makeup because they wear makeup to like work or whatever, like it's fine and they don't feel overwhelmed with it. But if you're in the midst of it and in the beauty industry, I think for a lot of people it is feeling overwhelming, and it is a lot. Hayden says, do you plan on staying in Washington your whole life? Yeah, I do. I think I'll live here forever. I'll definitely visit other places, but I think I'll probably live in Washington my whole life. Unless my family moves out of Washington, then likely I will also move because the only thing really tying me here is the feeling of home. I've lived here my whole life, so it feels like home. But also my family. So yeah. Kat Winter says, a genie grants you 3 wishes. What are they? And not 3 more wishes. Okay, I've thought about this. I would wish that there would, this sounds like a total Miss America answer, but actually hear me out. World peace is an actually fantastic wish. Imagine that everyone quits killing each other. But not only does everyone quit killing each other, they quit killing animals, they quit torturing animals. The world, not just the people on it, but the animals too, everyone in combination is peaceful with each other. Beyond that, I wish that there were no more suffering in any capacity, because not just peace, but also no more suffering, because that can happen. All peace, no suffering, all happiness. I mean, those are, I think, 3 wishes. I wouldn't wish for anything for myself. I would wish for things for the world. I would want people to respect the world and respect each other and have peace within each other, and that there was no more killing and fighting and all of that. And I feel like if I worded my wishes right, I could get all of that in one. And that there would be no more murder and torture and kids getting hurt and anything like that. And I would hope for peace. I think that's a good wish. I don't know. Leslie says, how have you coped with the inability to have children? I really haven't. I've got to a point where there was a time where I was like, if I don't have children, I don't know what I'm even doing here. And now I'm at the opposite, where I feel like it's gonna take me getting back in the right headspace to wanna have children. I've definitely come to terms with it. I'm so okay with not having kids now, and my husband really wants them, that now I'm having to reconvince myself that like, yeah, I can do that. Because I've convinced myself that like, you can't have kids, so you, like, kids are off your radar. It took a lot for me to get to this point, and now I'm so dug in that it's gonna be really hard to dig myself out, because I'm so dug into my beliefs that like, I'm perfectly happy without children. I don't know how it took me to get here. It took me focusing my attention on something different. When all I thought about was being a mom, all I wanted, all I knew was being a mom, and that's all I thought about and all I cared about. When I started focusing my attention on myself and my goals and my dreams, then I was able to get myself out of that mindset completely. And now it's gonna struggle, I'm gonna struggle to get back into it. But my husband really wants to be a dad. I want to be a mom. I just have allowed myself to know that I will never be. And so I've dug in. I just allowed myself to get to that point. I don't even know if I can have kids now. Hopefully I can. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not gonna go through fertility treatments again. It was one of the worst things I've done. I hated it so much. Valentina says, any YouTubers you cannot live without watching / just started watching and love? It's actually so funny because she's staying at my house right now, but Elsa Ray's channel is my favorite channel. It is so comforting to watch. The editing is so beautifully done. The way that they live their life is just so simple and idyllic to me. And I love their attitudes and their the way that they are just as people in general. But I just love their channel. If you haven't watched Elsa Ray's channel, it's beautifully done. I feel like she's got some of the best editing style, and the way she edits with music and everything is just so lovely. And when I rediscovered her channel, it really reinvigorated me to look inside myself at things that I love and want to do. And we got more into gardening, and we've decided more on what we want to do with our lives and getting out and about and trying new things. And I love her channel so much. When I sit down in the morning and drink my coffee, I watch an Elsa Ray video because they're just so soothing and comforting, and I just love them. I love the whole style and outlook that they have, and zest for life, and just the way that they really look inward to find out who they are and what they want and who they want to be, and they work on those things. I just find that really inspiring. Kelsey says, what do you and Zach like to do as a couple? Do you like to travel? Yes, that is what we love to do. We like to get outside and be with each other, whatever that may be. We just recently bought inflatable paddle boards, and we bought the Blackfin XL paddle boards, and they have been fantastic. We've taken them out a few times now. We love them. Paddleboarding is right now, in this moment, our favorite thing to do. Paddleboarding is so amazing. It is so fun. If you have not tried it, definitely like find a rental place around you and maybe go paddleboarding on like a lake or anywhere that you can. Like we paddleboarded down a river, but it was like a very, very shallow river. I'm done anyway with my, it was the last question. It was actually about us. You want to answer it with me? About stuff we like to do together?
All of it.
What do we like to do? Answer it.
Well, we really enjoy like cooking, hanging out at home, hanging out with our cats. Lately we enjoyed our new paddle boards. We really enjoyed that. But mostly we like watching a lot. Yeah, The Office or Friends or Netflix and just chilling. Yeah. A little Netflix and chill.
We just kind of like hang out, but we like to do a lot of stuff outside, and we're really just trying to get the very tail end of summer. And it's our anniversary coming up here.
What do you want to do?
I don't know.
I don't either.
It's on Thursday. I don't know when this video is getting 14 years together, 9 years married. So that's all.
So that's all. You're cute.
You are cute. It was Sweet Hangs. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Love you so much. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Hopefully this video wasn't too weird. And all right, well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at my next video.